Hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rihanna, and welcome back to Fresh Off the Broke.
Fresh Off the Broke is about personal experiences growing up Asian American in a predominantly white community, Asian media, and Asian pop culture in general. Race has always been a sensitive topic. Every day, there are debates over race. With our podcast, we intend to shed light on the experiences of first-generation Asian immigrants, not put them on a pedestal.
We understand that race isn't everything, but there should be an acknowledgement of people of color, the knowledge gap, and the racial divide that will ideally be broken. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the episode. Today's topic is Asians in visual and performing arts. The overarching question for today, as you may be able to tell from the title, is can Asians pursue the arts?
Now, what do we mean by this question? So, the episode today is basically talking about some common Asian stereotypes, particularly the pressure to become a lawyer / doctor or any similar profession like an engineer, and this huge just push for Asians, particularly Asian Americans, Canadians, to avoid the arts at all costs. Mm-hmm. Or maybe even, does this apply to Asians in Europe as well? Probably a little bit, right?
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. I just know that it doesn't apply really, and we'll get into this later, to Asians in Asia.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
But again, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
As some of you may know, Tiffany and I have, I guess, a background in the arts. Depends on how people would define a background in the arts. But we do.
Yeah. So we've mentioned this a few times, but Rihanna and I went to an art school together. very interesting time.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were at that art school, I was a visual arts major. I don't even really know if I can call myself that, because they technically didn't have those types of titles or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I technically fell under that, even though I did do a bit of other things.
Yeah.
Right. And in the past, in like elementary school and stuff like that, I did a bit of band. I used to play the flute, and then I also did choir.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, if you were there for the, what episode was it? Asian Dollar Store episode. Yeah. We're talking about Christmas spirit. You might remember my Christmas caroling, my professional Christmas caroling story. And if you don't remember it, you gotta go refresh. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Listen to it again. Read this again.
How could you not want to hear the story of Tiffany's Christmas caroling era?
Yeah, come on. Let's all Christmas carol together. It's not Christmas right now, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You've heard of Christmas in July. Why not Christmas in March? It's not that far off.
Yeah. Only
Let's do it.
9 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's never too early. Some people plan their Christmas presents so early. I know we're getting off topic, but some people plan their Christmas stuff so early. Literally in January.
That's kind of like me. But it's more of like, sorry. You literally said we're going off topic and I continue to go on this topic, but
that's okay.
Sometimes if I see gifts that I think would suit people, I would buy them throughout the year.
I think that's different though, because you see it. I'm talking about, I don't know people that do this, but it's more something I've seen on the media where people will start planning from January onward, like in writing and stuff. Which I mean, they're committed. It's not hurting anyone. Yeah. So I don't really have anything against it. It's kind of cute. Anyway, if we just backtrack a little bit, back to the choir experience. Yeah. So I was a visual arts major back in high school, and then throughout middle school and elementary, I did band. And then I guess from elementary to high school, I did choir. And now I study architecture.
Yay.
Which there's a huge debate that we're not going to get into about whether art is architecture or if they're mutually exclusive. And honestly, I personally find it to be a very, I don't want to say dumb, but I just think it's an argument that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
art is a very broad thing that encompasses a lot of things,
Mhm.
and architecture has elements of art. You can't necessarily say that architecture is art, period, because art is the largest umbrella,
Yeah, it is.
and architecture is a subtopic, and it encompasses many things.
Yeah.
Like art, engineering, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
That's all.
Not to be that person, but you know, art is subjective as well. So technically anything is art.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone said that in class one time.
I hate that.
We were talking about the art versus architecture debate.
Was it me? Was I in that class and I said that?
Yeah, I didn't really want to say anything. No, we're just kidding.
Yeah, I am not an architecture major. I actually have been a dancer since I started school. So from kindergarten all the way up to my senior year of high school, I was a dancer of some sort. So I danced competitively for over 10 years. And then
Yeah, like I don't know.
yeah, you know this. And once I hit high school, halfway through high school, I stopped dancing competitively, but I continued as a dance major in high school till graduation year. So I was still dancing, just not as much as I used to, / not as seriously as I used to. But also in high school, again, Tiffany said this, there's not really majors, like you aren't limited to one specific art, like you can do other things. So I also did a little bit of visual arts as well. That's more of like a hobby / interest. Which, wait, that's funny though. Funny that I say that, because in university I do plan on either majoring or minoring in art history. So there's that.
I mean, that's cool, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I never planned on going to university for art history. I genuinely didn't know that that was an option.
Yeah.
So when I came to university and I realized, oh, I can do that, I took the chance. So yeah.
You saw the opportunity
and I snatched it.
Yeah. I think that's great.
Thank you.
Happy for you, or cheering you on.
Thank you. I was crying.
Then we have to end the episode.
Yeah.
If it was a live show, we'd have to cut the commercial for a quick sec.
Yeah.
Just cut the commercial. That's, I don't know what commercial music is like. Jeopardy music.
So now that you know about our background, let's talk about why there's a stereotype in the first place. We all know that there's a stereotype of Asians only being in STEM / becoming a doctor, which in turn means that the arts are looked down upon because it isn't a prestigious career path, quote unquote.
I like the way you said that.
I forgot I had to add that in.
And like I was saying before, it's a very unique phenomenon within the diaspora, in the sense that in Asia, like Asia, I know I just said the same word twice, but in Asia, the fourth time now, they don't exactly look down. It depends on which part of Asia. It does. But I'll just say certain parts of Asia, pursuing the arts isn't seen as all that bad, or as bad as it would be perceived over in the West. And I don't know, I've seen this a lot in the media, especially in East-ish Asia / Southeast Asia. That's probably where the tolerance is a bit better. I don't know if I want to use the word tolerance, but they're a bit more open to it.
Mm-hmm.
And within the diaspora, with like Asian Americans, Asian Canadians, Asian Europeans, places like that, there's this huge stigma, it's taboo. You just can't. Why would you pursue a job in the arts that is considered a waste of time, a waste of money, a waste of effort, a waste of your life? And it kind of boils down to something called the immigrant bargain theory, which is basically just the idea that, if I can explain it simply, where immigrant parents, they feel that to get kind of, in a sense, their money's worth and their time's worth, in a sense, of being an immigrant or an immigrant parent, that you be a doctor or just like the highest paying job, in a sense, you get that. So this way it's worth it. They got what they paid for, in a way. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the idea, it's not really a phrase, but it's the idea of, I brought you to this country so you can become a doctor. I brought you here for a better opportunity, and that better opportunity means becoming a doctor or working as an engineer.
Yeah, for sure. And if you don't want to pursue post-secondary education, or you want to pursue it within non-traditional means, they'll just immediately jump on you. And they'll say things like, that's a waste of time, or how could you? I didn't come here for you to be on the street. Or for you to basically, you're going to end up on the street, something like that.
Like, you're wasting my time and my effort because you aren't doing what I want you to do. Exactly.
Yeah. It's hard. I can empathize, in a sense, with the feeling of wanting the best for your kid. I mean, I don't have children, but I can empathize with the idea of wanting the best for your children. However, you can't force a job into anyone. So many people, I imagine, maybe even some of our listeners, have done something like that. They took the career path their parents wanted them to take, and they did it because they wanted to make them happy. Because they would, I don't know, smile at the graduation ceremony, or, wow, you're studying medical sciences, something like that. But then during their career, or just somewhere in between, they burn out. They're super unhappy all the time because they're not doing something they like or care about or are passionate about. And you don't necessarily have to, so it's with italics in a sense, you don't have to be passionate about your job if that's not something you necessarily value in a job. That's totally fine. However, many of these people, they have things that they're passionate about, and then they basically force themselves out of pursuing it. And they burn out during their career, and that on top of student debt, on top of basically more family stress, it just leads to a very unhappy, unfulfilling life. And some people, they may give up in a sense and then leave it and go pursue something else. But then there's also people that just keep going until the very end, and they're just super sad, and their mental health is terrible.
And just like, I completely understand it though, because it's the idea of like, you feel the need to fulfill your parents' wishes because, you know, they quote unquote came to this land for these opportunities for you. But you also have to think about that are these really your dreams, or are you living out your parents' dreams?
Yeah. It reminds me of this classic movie. No, no, Dad, this is not my dream. It's yours.
Isn't that from High School Musical?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. I've never
It's
seen
a
it, but I
line
know
that's
people
in
quote it.
many movies.
Yeah.
I think it might be. Could it be from High School Musical? Because I know he did. Tangent. He was a basketball player, and then he got interested in
Dance.
dance, theater kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there was this whole thing about him having to pick one or the other, and he couldn't do both.
Yeah.
Just because that wasn't presented as an option.
Yeah. You can't do basketball at the same time as you do dance. Mutually exclusive. Not possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basketball dancing, what's that?
Yeah, never heard of it.
Yeah. Dribble dancing. Gosh.
Yeah. Okay, going back to our original train of thought. Looking at things logistically, I guess you could argue that the arts aren't a stable or a guaranteed career path just because of the way that arts are. Like, especially visual arts, if you want to become like a painter, very stereotypical, like you are selling things based on the fact that people want to buy those things. Like you need to gain an audience first, gain like commissioners, buyers, all of this. It's not stable. Whereas compared to if you become a doctor, let's say, or like a nurse, you work at a hospital, you just apply to the hospital. It's a lot more stable or guaranteed as compared to these art jobs as well.
Yeah, that's where the whole starving artist meme or joke comes from. Because it's very hard to sustain your career. Not that it's impossible, but just the way that the industry is set up, / the field is set up, / society is set up.
Yeah.
Makes it very hard to thrive under those conditions, unless maybe you come from a place a bit more privileged, or maybe you just had a bit of a head start. Yeah.
Connections are so important in any art, whether it be visual or performance, because visual connections, you know people who maybe want to buy your art, people who want to promote your art, and then
people like want to exhibit it.
Yeah, exactly. And then performance art, even just auditioning for things, if you know people, you're gonna get that role. You could be the best person, but if you don't really know anyone, and the judges, or I guess the people holding the auditions, if they are a little biased towards the people that they know, you're not going to get that role even if you deserve it. That's just how it works sometimes. Yeah, which makes sense. It's not stable or guaranteed. I understand that concern. But then again, considering how current day job opportunities look, and like things are just getting so competitive, especially in like engineering, computer science.
Yeah.
All of these high demand, quote unquote, jobs, they're so oversaturated. And it's getting to the point where these stable or guaranteed jobs they're becoming unreliable now, because everyone is trained in them already. There's always someone better than you, apparently, in this realm. You can't, it's just unreliable,
Yeah, for sure. I know what you're trying to say. And yeah, with the way the job force or the industry is set up and everything, like I was just saying, it just makes it so competitive and everything. And same with the university application process, all these things. It just gets more and more competitive as we, in a sense, grow as a population, because people bring all these ideas, but at the same time, it turns into, God, there's just so much conflict, because then there's certain, I'm just thinking of like, but yeah, the things that you see on social media sometimes people say about certain jobs and how it's so hard to find good work.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole unpaid internships thing, I can't even get into that.
Oh man.
Like, I could rant about that forever. If that's something you're into, leave a comment down below.
Yeah.
I want
We'll
an
talk about
unpaid
it.
internship rant.
It's just scary to even think about.
Yeah. Since we've covered the overarching stereotype, or just, I guess, one of the roots of the problem, let's talk a bit about different perspectives on this issue. For example, families, our own society. Not to be all, we live in a society, but we do. We do live in a society.
You cannot deny that we live in a society.
Yeah. So I can go ahead and start off with my family's opinion or their thoughts on art. For one, okay, so they don't have anything against art in itself. They think art and culture, I guess, because in Chinese culture, art and culture is very important, and so it's valued. And I mean, like I was saying, in Asia, or I guess let's just say in China, pursuing the arts isn't exactly seen as something that's terrible and just dishonoring. However, if we were to just zoom back in to my family, when it comes to me and art, they are not, and slash were not very supportive. And the thing is, I never really wanted to become an artist or just a professional artist or a painter or anything like that. But when I went to study, or when I attempted to, when we were doing applications for schools, I decided to also apply for an art school just because, well, there were some schools I wanted to go to, and I kind of ran out of, well, I didn't, yeah, there's a certain amount of slots that you can fill up, and I had one more, and so I chose an art school. And the thing is, the other schools that I got in, I was applying to were more of a lottery system, so it's either you get in or you don't. And so I didn't get into those, and so I only got into that art school, which is kind of funny because that one you actually had to apply for.
Yeah.
And then the other one, it was more like a lottery, like you get it and you don't. But
yeah.
So I got into that school, and so technically that was my only option. And they didn't like it at all. They think it's weird because they don't think art or culture is bad, but they thought that it would be awful. Yeah, they were just all out not very supportive. And it's just weird because I've never been like a bad student or like a bad kid per se. So I don't really know why they were so unsupportive. I don't really think that if I were to choose a path, at least academically or like career wise or anything, that I would really just destroy everything. I don't know. I personally don't perceive myself as that. I don't think people perceive me like that in general.
No, people don't.
Yeah.
I can say that.
You speak for all people.
Yeah. I perceive you.
Period.
Yeah.
I see. I perceive you as well. I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And gosh, it was a really weird time. I mean, I live with it because I've mentioned this a few times in podcasts. I don't really care what my family thinks. Doesn't really. I mean, obviously you care. It's not like you don't care at all.
Yeah, yeah.
You always care a little bit, but I've just learned to not care because it's not to sound like that Asian American or like that Asian whatever, but it's my life. At the end of the day, I have to live with my decision. And as long as I'm doing what's right for me, also it was going on to. What else was I supposed to do? Wouldn't you hate it more if I just didn't go to school?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And then in terms of stuff like art classes and extracurricular, since it's pretty popular for Asians to take outside classes or extracurricular stuff, I didn't really take any classes like piano or violin, drawing, stuff like that. It was partially them not really thinking that was just like something to sign me up for. And then another part with financial reasons, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
And in terms of today, in a sense, I'm currently studying architecture in university. Architecture is a very peculiar type of program of study, or just something to study, because it's considered a STEM subject. It's been recently acknowledged as being in STEM. Not recently acknowledged as in last month, but it's been a few years. Yeah, for sure. And so it's kind of an approved program, at least within the Chinese world, just because it's not too far off from engineering. And so
it checks the boxes.
Yeah, it checks enough boxes. And so they didn't protest or anything when I said that I wanted to do architecture. And I mean, it's something that I've been interested in for a very long time, like from a young age.
That's good.
Not necessarily like we were I was destined to be an architect. This is why I was brought into this world. But it's something I've always been interested in / cared about. Yeah. So there's that. They're pretty chill about it. But like I said before, it doesn't really have that big of an effect on me currently in my current headspace, whether or not they care or if they like it. Because okay, I'm the one going through university. They're not the one going through university, and it's not like I finish my studies and I get my license and they go, no. Okay, build house.
Yeah, like what?
Build house to move away? No, but I have that power. Dangerous. Sorry. What is this? Yeah, that's the general just story of my family's opinions on me and art in a sense.
I will say, this is not a general statement that I would say that I'm like, it applies to everyone, but knowing you, I'm glad that you have the mindset of, I don't care at the end of the day what they think. Because
thank you.
Wasn't
developed overnight.
Yeah, no, it was not. It was a process, but I'm very glad that we have reached that point. I say we as if I had any you know what I mean.
Do I? No, I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it is my life, and like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Take the house down? What are they gonna take the building? I'm gonna rip apart the construction paper.
Yeah, they're gonna deconstruct your building.
Gosh.
The opposite.
That'd be kind of funny.
What?
I would record it and then turn it into an art piece. No, because someone actually would do that.
I love that. Oh God.
Okay, I'm gonna put that on the back burner.
I really love
I'll let y'all know if anything happens.
It's very interesting to hear your family's opinions because I have some similarities, but also a lot of differences to yours. which I think
Mhm.
is a good thing for us because, as we stated last episode, we have a lot of things in common that are so
Yeah.
specific, and it's just scary at this point.
No, for real.
Yeah. So again, as I said earlier, I was put into an extracurricular dance program for over 10 years, starting from a very, very young age. So when I started school, I started dancing. Um, and it wasn't like, I did like a dance lesson a week and then I had a recital at the end of the year. Like it was very not it's not professional, but it was very like a rigorous program. Like,
Very strict.
yeah, I was dancing for over 10 hours a week. We sacrificed a lot for me to be in these dance lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Both myself, like in terms of like schoolwork and even just being able to hang out with friends, hang out with family. Like there were so many family um events that I've missed as a child growing up because I was too busy at a dance competition or I had a really, really important rehearsal that I couldn't miss. Like
Ah,
lots of sacrifices. Same with my parents. Like they were the ones bringing me to and from dance lessons. I'm very grateful for that, genuinely. Like I wouldn't have changed anything if I went back. I'm very grateful for everything that's happened.
yeah.
Um, I will say though, it's
Oh,
interesting because there was a lot of time and effort and money put into this. Again, over 10 years of competitive dance. That's a lot. Even like physically, my body has I'm so young and my body is still like taking a toll on what I just did for most of my life. Like,
all your bones hurt.
yeah, like I don't feel like an old person, but you guys know what I mean. Like
Mhm.
my certain parts of my body are just never, they're always going to be a little bit painful because of the way that I grew up, I guess. Just the way that I trained, everything. Like I just have permanent injuries at this point.
Oh.
But back to what I was saying, lots of effort, time and effort and money, so many sacrifices, and yet I was never ever expected to become a dancer. I wasn't like that wasn't even an option for me. They wanted me to become a doctor or a scientist or an engineer or something of that sort. Um Dance always came, I guess, second to school, even though I would miss school sometimes for dance.
Uh-huh.
Um and that's very confusing, especially as a kid when it's like anyone asks me, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Obviously, I'd say I want to be a dancer. I would say, like, oh, I want to become a ballerina. Like, that's what I wanted to be. And my mom would get like pretty mad when I would say stuff like that.
Because
She
a
would,
kid.
yeah, she would almost like get offended when I'd say stuff like that. Um, which, yeah, again, very confusing. Like, why do you not want me to be a dancer if you're gonna have me be dancing as much as I'm in school, like a little confusing. And it's kind of funny because the original reason why they put me into dance is because I was a very, very, very quiet kid. I was incredibly shy. I was scared of people. I would literally hide from people. Um, and my parents thought that the way to, I guess, take me out of my shell was to put me into dance lessons. And instead of like, sticking to like a lesson per week and have a little fun recital at the end of the year and then pull me out once I've had enough, I just kept doing it until senior year of high school. Um, and yeah, at the end of the day, I don't dance anymore. It's nothing but like something that I used to do. And I don't know, I'm not the type of person who wants to take classes outside of, well, not outside of school because I don't do it anymore. But yeah, I don't take any classes. So it's nothing but something that I used to be able to do. And My parents
Now it's just
also,
somebody that you used to know.
for real, I love that song, by the way.
Didn't have to cut me off.
What if we get copyrighted for that? We wouldn't, but that would be funny if we did.
I would be flattered.
Yeah, you sound exactly like it.
Thank you. Anyways, you were saying?
Yeah, my parents also wanted me to do piano lessons / art lessons. Piano lessons at first because my dad knows how to play the piano,
Oh, he
and
does?
yeah, he does. But the thing is, my dad, like, he took lessons, but he's mostly self-taught. So he wanted to teach me, which I don't know why, but there was also a lot of pressure on like him teaching me like lessons like at least once a week. But I wasn't into it. Like I wasn't really interested in piano, but both my parents at some point were like, "No, we're going to put you in piano lessons. Like you're going to do that. Like we want you to learn how to play the piano." Um and the only thing that convinced them to not put me into piano lessons was for me to teach piano to myself and then show them that I could actually play the piano like a full song without them having to put me in lessons. And once I could do that, they finally stopped saying we're going to put you in piano lessons.
Wow.
With art lessons, it was more that like I was interested in art, and then my mom was like, "Oh, let's put you in art lessons then," because I also have family members who took art lessons as a child as well, but
Right.
they both my parents knew that dance was taking up so much of my time. It would be impossible for me to be taking piano or art lessons at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, to this day, all of these things are nothing but hobbies / interests. And obviously they have great benefits, but why so much time and effort, and yet they would be annoyed if I said that I wanted to pursue the arts when I grew up. Yeah.
I just don't understand how you can put someone in something for years and then you don't expect them to fall in love with it, especially since they're very young. I don't know. You don't know a lot about the world. You find something fun or you have an emotional connection to it, or you just spend a lot of time around it and
Yeah.
you end up really liking it. But how do you expect them to just go through all those years of doing all that? And then do you think you're just going to be bored the entire time? I mean, some are, and they grow
Yeah.
to hate it and resent it or something. But the ones that do actually really like it, I mean, there's a reason,
Yeah.
but very complex.
Yeah. I never stated this outright, but my family's opinion on the arts is that the arts are ways to brag, like, oh, look at my kid, she's doing all of these arts, we like sacrifice so much of our time for this, and yet I don't even want her to be doing that, like
That's
like
supposed to be a
that's
flex.
apparently, well, not like I don't even want her to be doing that, but like look how much time and effort we put in something that like isn't even the main goal, like
The side mission.
yeah, like look how impressive this is that she can do that or she knows how to do this. Like she's not just like smart in school or whatever. I mean, I wasn't, but
No, don't say that.
I couldn't help it.
No, we're working on this next episode. It's
Oh,
gonna
God.
be a therapy. No, going back to what I was saying about parents, how they put their kids into some type of art, and their kid falls in love with it, and there's a running joke or meme about Asian Americans, or just like Asians within the diaspora, where their parents will put them in some class, and this example was most prominent with music.
Mm-hmm.
And then so they study, for example, the piano or something for
Or
years and
violin.
years on end. Yeah, just years. And they have things memorized, everything. It's just second nature to them almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fall in love with it because they like the art of doing it. or they like the music, or this and that, they like performing. But then their parents will go, what? This is your passion now? Surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah, like, what do you mean you like this?
Yeah, like, what do you expect? You put them in that thing for years and years and years, and they learn to love it, or they grew to love it, or they just loved it from the very start.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't let them celebrate that.
Man, I will say though, I feel like from what I've seen, especially on like social media, the one way for Asian kids to get their parents to be on board with pursuing music specifically, like piano and violin, is if they go to Juilliard.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have to have the name. I go to Juilliard, you know.
For sure. And I mean, some celebrities, some Asian celebrities say stuff like that too. Their parents will say, okay, you can become I don't know, a K-pop idol. You're allowed to audition if you get 100% on your exam, or if you get straight A's on your exam, then you can
Mm-hmm.
audition for this entertainment group.
Mm-hmm. It's so
Yeah.
funny though. The trade-off is like you have to work super hard and show results to even like try to get into this entertainment group where you don't even have a like guaranteed getting in or getting into a group.
For sure. It's just so funny. I mean, the memes are funny and everything. I mean, the situation itself is kind of sad.
Mm-hmm. It's like that TikTok audio that's like laughing and then it's not funny, is it? It's actually really serious.
That's us right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just can't imagine how, I know I already said that. I just can't imagine how you can put someone in something like that, and then when they come out and they really like it or something, you're surprised. Would you rather they
Yeah.
hate it?
It's like what did
What
you
is this
expect?
about? Yeah. Gosh, I just makes no sense. Not that
No.
it's supposed to. Just gosh.
Yeah. Like even being surprised when it's like especially in like performing arts or something like that. It's like
Mm.
them being surprised when they see kids like crying at their last performance or something like that. It's like obviously they're going to be sad. They're like saying goodbye to essentially their entire lives at this
Mm.
point.
Yeah.
Like that becomes, especially if you started at a young age, that becomes like a part of your identity. And I don't like saying all of this after being like, oh, I started dance from a very young age. Um, but yeah, that is how it is.
Mm-hmm. To answer the question, can Asians pursue the arts? Do they belong there? Do they have? Are
Do they
they
have a
valid?
place?
Do they have a place? Are they welcome? Well, if we say are they welcome, maybe not 100% because of many systemic
Yeah,
issues.
yeah.
However, can Asians pursue the arts? Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
We 100% believe this.
Man,
It's,
pursue whatever you want, honestly.
yes, I've always been, as long as, I mean, obviously this is an extent, but as long as you're responsible, you're
Hmm.
self-aware and everything about the career that you want to go into, I don't really see the problem.
Yeah, and it's like not like explicitly harming you, like
Mm-hmm. And especially if you're someone from a bit of a more privileged background and maybe you're able to pay, your family can pay for your education easily, it's not that big of a deal for you.
mhm.
You can definitely take this time to like explore some classes and stuff. Because I know
Yeah,
there's some people, they really like the art, but they were too scared to apply for it, so they applied for something like engineering. And so, oh, maybe not engineering is a bad example, but they applied for a science, and then for a minor, they go and do something more quote unquote artsy just
yeah,
to kind of
man.
make up for it.
Join me in the art history world.
Yeah, You know what? Maybe I will.
I mean, like, art history and architecture, like, I'm learning about architecture.
Yeah.
And you're learning about art history, so there's a lot of overlap.
Yes, there's stuff like visual concepts and like visual strategy that we have to study. And then sometimes when we do architecture history, there's certain elements that tie back to art in general. Yeah.
So technically, we are both here. Join us.
We are both architecture and arts and science. You know what? Throw in med sci.
Yeah, for fun. Add engineering. Just add all of them. I'm a lawyer now.
Geochemical engineer. Yeah, I have a JD.
Yeah.
Why not? This is all a video game. We're playing The Sims.
Yeah. Oh man, that'll be fun. Okay.
That could be something we do. Imagine.
Ooh, yeah, that would be fun.
A little gaming.
Comment down below if you want to see it. Yeah. Please say yes. And by the way, you guys should check out a link in the description. We have a very nice paper on Asian Americans in music. You can read about different people's perspectives on pursuing the arts / music and being Asian American. Very interesting. Fun read.
I, for one, really appreciate when someone does studies on these and experiments, because most of the time it's something that people don't really talk about. It's just something that's acknowledged, and I'm not necessarily saying that you have to have a study as proof for everything, because there are false studies that exist.
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to stuff like this with Asian issues, just very complex, like nuanced issues, I just think that, like I said, people don't talk about. If you get a study going and you pull people out and see if they want to talk about it, and then they do, it really helps validate the situation and helps with this shared experience in a sense. Because there's no way that I'm the only one that's experienced, I don't know, insert thing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that are rooted in culture and whatever, and you can quantify it in the sense that you know, and you can find out that one in this many Asians feel this way because of this and that.
No, really though, it's so reassuring to read these different papers and studies and see, like, it's not just me. I feel seen.
For real.
Yeah.
I actually do feel seen. But yeah, just in general, I mean, not every experience is ideally shared, because some are very bad.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to know that, for example, something like this, the whole Asians in the arts thing, is something that is acknowledged as being a general thing that happened in the community. Yeah. I don't know. It's just something like, I appreciate that some things that are unspoken in a sense, or taboo or whatever, have studies attached to it, because someone went out of their way to, if no one talks about it, let me talk about it. Let me put some numbers to this. And I appreciate that. So if you're one of these people and you're listening, I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Sending lots of love. And as we send lots of love to the people that work and conduct these studies, I want to send lots of love to the people that listen to our podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed this discussion about Asians pursuing the arts. And I think it would really warm my heart if there were some people in the audience today. They feel like we're in a live.
In our live studio audience. If someone could please stand up, you are an Asian in the arts.
It would really warm my heart if there were some people listening that and they enjoyed this conversation or have some thoughts about it that they wanted to share, their personal experiences. And as always, feel free to leave a comment about things like that. Feel free to leave a comment about maybe you see different treatments depending on the art. Maybe you think, oh, they see the instrumental art a little differently than they see the visual art and painting. And you can explain to us what that means to you or what that might mean to your parents and everything. I love hearing about these experiences, honestly.
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much.
Yeah. If you guys like this episode and want to stay connected with us, check out our website in the description. It contains links to our streaming platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and more. Follow us for more behind-the-scenes content, announcements, and other random things we decide to put on there.